Welcome back to the lounge. I'm Balanced. So tonight I want to talk about feminism and the effects of it that it's having on the newer generations. So I believe that the original feminists were just looking for equal rights, looking to be heard, looking to be able to vote, looking for, the opportunity to be in the workforce and the opportunities that men had. Not guaranteed the outcomes, but just the opportunities. That's what I agree with. So I want to get into some of these videos that kind of break down what happened to our people as far as the feminist movement went and how it got skewed because they were led to believe that they were getting something or that the other races was doing what they were doing and it was far from the truth. So I got about 3 or 4 videos that I'm gonna play for you in this one, and then we'll get back to what I believe. So here's our first one.
The way black women fight oppression and the way white women fight oppression is very rarely beneficial doing it the same way. Like feminism and pushing against men. All right, white women, they wanted to go and work. They wanted the right to go and be in the workforce. They wanted to be able to go have these careers and these jobs. There's never been a time in America that black women even had an opportunity not to work. Message! The way black women fight oppression and the way white women fight oppression is very rarely beneficial doing it the same way. Like feminism and pushing.
So that was one video, and I hope that you did get the message that was put in there because our women rarely had the chance not to work. White women wanted to work. They wanted to be in the workforce, and they wanted certain things, and they used our women to help get them there. But what happened was that our women took it a step further and decided to start kicking their men out of the homes and taking the welfare and stuff like that. Excuse me. Where white women just wanted the opportunities and they kept their families together. So here is another video for you guys.
To say we did not have a choice, we chose greed. We chose a bag over a man. We chose to not have our children. We would rather have a bunch of money than have our children have a father in the home.
I disagree.
No one. You have to know the history. This is proven fact.
History.
No, this is
Men
proven
were not
facts.
able to work and provide for their
That's
families.
absolutely
We were
false.
forced to take
That's
the
false.
government check.
That's false.
They couldn't stay in the
That's
house
false.
if they were there.
That's false.
Then how were they going to feed the
That's
children?
false.
And where was
the
it coming
children
from?
were fed. Women were greedy
Because it was coming from the government.
No. Let's
But if
get
the
this
husband
clear.
was home, he wouldn't be employed.
Black women
So how
wanted to be like white women in the Cosmopolitan magazine. The woman who started Cosmopolitan magazine, the main editor, she is now a Catholic, and she repented from what she did. She said we were teaching women because we wanted all women to feel that we had a gripe with white men. And so this is public knowledge. You look it up on YouTube.
She talks about it.
Yes, absolutely. They wanted black women to also be part of their movement in other races because it wasn't enough. The black woman and the black man had to stay together in the U.S. because it was the only way for us to overcome. What they did was with Cosmo, they lied. These were women that would say, you know what, there's a single woman moved to New York. She's sleeping with different men. She has her life. She has her own money, her education. She's getting these jobs. These women were promoting promiscuity and living a certain lifestyle when they were all married. They were all lying and making up these people because it was supposed to be a fantasy magazine. But women were taking... To say we did not have a choice, we chose.
So right there on that one, I kind of want to come back and discuss it. So as you can see that there's nothing wrong with a woman going out and accomplishing the things that she wants to accomplish, but there's no need to break up the family to do it. There's ways that we can work together to make things, work out for everybody. So I think that what happened was that the money was coming in. They didn't really need a man back then. It's getting a little harder to do it now. They were able to get housing, but it did give a shift in attitude. And as you can see, our women are some of the highest in unmarried pregnancies. All the points that everybody else hit. I'm not going to go through all that, but we already know the way that our kids act is a little different than other kids. We are out there. They're acting like adults at younger ages. But this all is linked to the feminist movement and removing men out of the families and removing just accountability for, I think, both sides overall, because even the men, because once certain men do get removed from the family, they kind of go off and do their own thing and are not as worried about the family as well. But it did start with the feminist movement. So here is another one, and this is kind of what I believe is starting to happen. I'm starting to see more and more females come around to thinking like Kevin Samuels was trying to put all this information out there before anybody else was doing it. A lot of women are starting to sit down and really look at themselves and take accountability for the way that they have been behaving, and understanding what men were saying and how it could be very simple for us to work together in certain situations. So let's get to this other one right here that I have and see how women are starting to come around to this way of thinking.
Fifth
Again,
wave of feminism is here, and it's going to change the world as we know it. My prediction, this is going to be a counter movement to the fourth wave, where women start embracing their femininity instead of tearing down masculinity. Cool, women have joined men in the workforce, but now they've realized that they've lost sight of the things that actually make them strong women, like their warmth, their love, and their ability to nurture the people in their lives. They're realizing that they're now in debt to sexual liberation and hookup culture. It ruined them, and now they're realizing that competing with men resulted in no fulfillment whatsoever. They just serve their male boss instead of the man in their home. All for what? 12 weeks of paid maternity leave? Yeah, you could keep that. Feminism destroyed the traditional family and the natural dynamics between men and women. And now women are waking up. Fifth wave.
so that's what I'm saying, is that a lot of women are waking up and understanding that you guys have been tricked into thinking that men were these terrible people and these terrible beasts that would just control you and take over your life. And I'm sure there is experience with men out there like that, and I think that you shouldn't deal with men like that. But for the men that are willing to work with you and do things, and you just have this dream of having better stuff and whatever it is, and it's someone that you could work with and kind of, build on what you guys have. To me, it's not worth breaking up your home. It's not worth breaking up with someone that you may regret breaking up with later. So, just put some thought into it in the way you move. And I'm going to play this last video, which I think is really, really, really a good example, because I believe that this woman in this video, is kind of a feminist, but not sure, but she comes off like one. And I think she has a realization when this guy asks some very key questions to challenge her in some of her thought process. So let's look at this one, and this will be the last one.
Why is it when a woman doesn't have a man, she often has to take on a masculine role, but when a man doesn't have a woman, he doesn't necessarily have to take on a feminine role?
Ooh. That's too good a question for me to answer personally.
That prove that masculinity is more essential for survival than femininity.
Ooh, fuck. I had never thought about that, so it's alright.
And if that's true, why is masculinity seen as toxic?
Masculinity is vital for society to continue existing.
Why is it when a woman doesn't have a man, she often...
So, as you can see, the guy hit her with some pretty good questions. He made her challenge the thought of how masculinity is looked at. And it is looked down upon in a lot of areas. And they don't want men to be men and to act like men. They want us to be more like women and be softer. And I think the only way to get to the softer side of a man is to be a soft woman, because when we're challenged, we push back. And it's just a trait of being a man. We meet fire with fire, basically. Excuse me. And women are supposed to be able to quench that fire and make us soften up and make us want to be there for them and do the damsel in distress thing for them. I always put out an analogy when I talk to people about this topic, and I always put it in this way. You have an office where a bunch of men and a bunch of women work. There's one woman, and she's the independent woman. She wants to be nobody to do anything for her. She wants to be equal and, just come there and do the work and just almost be left alone. So she's if you offer her help with anything, I got it, I can do it. This woman, open the door for her. No, I got it. Don't do that for me. Okay, boom. And then you have the other woman, and we'll call her Feminine Fran. Feminine Fran is the one that is always like, oh, can you help me with this? Or, oh, I need help doing this. Oh, do you mind carrying this to the car for me? Do you mind doing this? Do you mind that? So one day, everybody's at work. The building catches a fire. We'll say independent Inez is in the back somewhere, and Feminine Fran is in the back as well. Building is on fire. Everybody's scrambling, trying to get to exits. Nobody's checking for the independent one, but everybody's going to be worried about Fran. Did Fran make it out? Is she okay? Very pleasant to be around. The other one is a little more rough around the edges, a little more harsh, a little more direct, straight to the point, more like a man. So nobody's trying to help her out the building. She may be the one to die, and she may be the one that needs the most help at some point. But I think that just, to me, always encapsulates what femininity does to men. Men are worried about. We will check, we will help, we will even die for the women that we love and for the people that we want to hold us in high regards, and the ones that make us feel like men. Let's add this video in.
Feminism is a scam. A few years ago, I was an angry, blue-haired feminist. I once believed that male privilege was real and that I was a victim of the wage gap. Now that I understand the true motives of feminism, I know that this could not be further from the truth, and that modern-day feminism is a war on true masculinity. Before women had the right to vote, most were stay-at-home wives, which meant they weren't working jobs and couldn't be taxed. Our overlords didn't like that. Rockefeller started funding feminist campaigns in media, and as a consequence of the movement, women started entering the workforce and leaving the home. Children would then be separated from their parents and sent to Rockefeller-funded schools to be indoctrinated by the state. All of this ultimately disrupting the family unit at its core. Feminism is defined as the belief in social, economic, and political equality of the sexes. But in the West, I must ask, what rights do men have that women don't? Modern feminists are convincing women that hookup culture, using hormonal birth control, and not shaving is liberation. That toxic masculinity is prevalent and the patriarchy must be dismantled. Through movies and media, we're taught that working for the man, climbing the corporate ladder, and paying tax is more empowering and valuable than raising the next generation. Women have lost touch with our natural loving instincts, and birth rates are plummeting. Men and women are not the same. And by protesting for equality of outcome rather than opportunity, feminists are demonizing and emasculating men.
So that was another video that I wanted to add to this, because as you can see, it's a lot of information out there, and I'm not saying to trust the information that I'm putting forth, but I mean, a lot of this stuff to me makes sense, but I would love for y'all to do your own research and see how it makes you feel. If you feel more empowered to, work for yourself and become this boss lady, and that's going to fulfill all your needs while you're here on earth, by all means, do it. But for me, I think being with somebody, a man being with a woman and a woman being with a man is way more fulfilling than anything. And I don't understand why somebody would want to, and me myself, if I didn't have to go to work, I wouldn't. If I had somebody that was willing to, fund my dreams or, do certain things, I would take that opportunity. I would love to stay home with my kids. I would love to do a lot of things. But, me being a man, I have to go out into the workforce and, provide and leave a legacy for my kids once I pass away. So these are the things that I'm focusing on, and, when I do get what I need, I'm gonna, be able to hopefully retire and do the things that I want to do. So that's, just another little video that I felt kind of added to the message that I was trying to put out there with this. So thank you for attending. Once again, I'm Balanced. Subscribe, you know, all the stuff, man. Come on, help your nigga out. I'm out here trying to do it. So, all right, thank you, and we'll talk again later. And I appreciate you guys, and have a good one.